Jaylen Brown is finally speaking out. LeBron James just joined the Philadelphia 76ers, and people think Brown might want out because of it. Here's why. ESPN's Brian Windhorst said it straight up. LeBron picked this move. Maxey and Embiid were on the phone begging LeBron to come. Brown had no say. Windhorst says Brown walks in feeling dumped, and he doesn't blame him. Brown got disrespected by Boston on his way out, 2 years after winning Finals MVP and a title. Think about that. He brought Boston a championship. 2 years later, he's a trade chip. Now Philly lands one of the greatest players ever before Brown even settles in. Nobody asked how he felt. CBS Sports' Shehan Jayaraja pointed out the irony. Brown hated being second fiddle in Boston. Now he might rank even lower in Philly. That's the real problem. Brown spent years mad about living behind Jason Tatum. Now he's stuck with Embiid, Maxey, rising star VJ Edgecombe, and LeBron. 4 guys who all need the ball. Brown isn't second anymore. He might be 4th. Kendrick Perkins called this before. Years ago, he said Brown was showing every sign he wanted out of Boston. He was right. Brown left, but not his way, and not where anyone guessed. Now people are wondering if he wants out of Philly too. One NBA analyst asked it directly, does Philly have a Jaylen Brown problem now? Brown came in as the hero. Weeks later, a 4-time champion walks in with a bigger resume. Could Brown feel burned? That kind of hurt doesn't need words. It shows up in the stats. Who touches the ball? Who gets the plays drawn up for them late in games? Windhorst wasn't guessing about a mood. He was calling out a real problem that's about to hit Brown every single night. And remember how this started. Brown didn't ask to leave Boston. The front office went chasing size and stars elsewhere, and he got pushed out the door. Now the same problem followed him to Philly. Another superstar, another adjustment, another fight to find his place. That's the situation right now. A guy who felt disrespected leaving one contender, landing on another, and getting buried even deeper on the bench totem pole than before. Windhorst, Perkins, Jayaraja, everyone who tracks this stuff is saying the same thing in different ways. Brown didn't choose this. Brown didn't ask for this. Now he has to live with it. Every night on national TV with cameras watching his every reaction. You can already feel the tension in the coverage. One report said straight up that Brown's arrival created real tension over who gets the ball, even though the trade made sense for Philly. That word tension isn't coming from Brown's side. It's coming from analysts trying to figure out how 5 stars share one basketball. Once you count how many guys need touches to feel like themselves, you understand why people keep asking if Brown wants out. The rumors didn't disappear, they just moved cities. To get why Brown's in the spot, rewind to Boston. That road wasn't smooth, and Brown never asked for it. Brown gave Boston 10 years, drafted 3rd overall in 2016, became a 5-time All-Star, a franchise legend. He helped bring home banner 18. Then, everything fell apart. That's not a small resume. That's a guy who gave everything, including a title. But cracks were showing long before this summer. Brown had been trade bait for years. Things really heated up when Boston went hunting for a different kind of star. Reports said Boston tried trading Brown for Giannis Antetokounmpo. According to Eurohoops, Boston offered Brown plus 2 first-round picks to Milwaukee for Giannis. Milwaukee wanted more, so the deal died, and Giannis ended up with Miami instead. Picture that. Your own team shops you for the biggest name out there and it still falls apart. You just get to read about it. That's not just a rumor, that's a warning sign. Then Boston found a new partner. Philly stepped up and things moved fast. Boston sent Brown to Philadelphia for Paul George plus draft picks. Yahoo Sports reported the return included Paul George, 2 second-round picks, and 2 first-round picks. 1 unprotected 2031 pick from the Sixers, and a 2028 pick tied to whichever team, Sixers or Clippers, picks worse. Here's a twist. Reporters made clear Brown never asked for any of this. ESPN's Shams Charania said on SportsCenter that Brown never requested a trade. He never asked out. This was all Boston's call. That's about as clear as it gets. Brown didn't demand a first start. The front office made the choice and Brown found out with everyone else. Boston Globe's Adam Himmelsbach backed up that same story with his own sources. 2 different outlets, 2 sets of sources, same conclusion. Brown didn't want to leave. He just had 0 say in it. That matters a lot for understanding where his head is now. This isn't a guy who chased a new situation he'd planned out. This is a guy who got moved, adjusted to a new city, new jersey number, new coaches, then weeks later had to adjust all over again when the team added a Hall of Famer on top of it all. Brown wasn't just leaving a team, he was leaving the only NBA home he'd ever known. 10 years builds deep roots, relationships, routines, identity. NBC Sports Boston broke down just how messy the exit was. The front office debated giving Brown 2 more years and $140 million, which meant paying him $70+ million at age 34 versus moving on. Ownership chose to move on. Brown didn't hide his feelings either. Before the trade was even official, he posted a message in June about how the neighbor's rice always smells better. Plenty of Celtics fans read that as a shot at the front office chasing a bigger name over him. By the time the trade happened, Brown had spent months watching his name get floated around, watching his own team pick someone else first, and landing somewhere he never chose. That's the backdrop for everything that came next. It's exactly why when LeBron showed up weeks later, people started asking if Brown was about to relive the nightmare all over again, this time with an even more crowded roster in front of him. Now let's talk about how LeBron actually ended up in Philly, because the timing is what really complicated things for Brown. It all moved fast. According to Yardbarker, it traces back to one 24-hour stretch. On June 30, 2026, LeBron's agent Rich Paul told the Lakers that LeBron wouldn't be returning. One day later, Philly agreed to trade for Jaylen Brown, and that move is what pushed LeBron to sign with the Sixers. A source told Dallas Hoops Journal flat out, the Jaylen trade is what got LeBron to sign. Another source said LeBron wouldn't be in Philly at all without that trade. That's the move that started everything. So here's the painful part. The same trade that uprooted Brown's whole career is the same trade that brought in the guy now pushing him even further down the pecking order. Brown didn't just get traded. His arrival was the bait that reeled in his own biggest competition. And it wasn't passive either. Reports say Brown actually helped recruit LeBron. On the surface, that sounds exciting, but underneath, it's a lot messier. One insider on Pat Shermer's show said Brown was fully behind bringing LeBron in, and even talked directly with Rich Paul to help make it happen. Think about that position. You help recruit the guy about to eat into your own touches. ESPN's Shams Charania confirmed it on NBA Today. Brown wanted LeBron there and worked to make it happen, with someone close to Brown saying he'd approach it with zero ego. There's a version where that's just team-first thinking, a former Finals MVP realizing a fourth star gives everyone a better shot at a ring. And Brown's public words have leaned into exactly that. When the LeBron news broke, Brown's reaction was 3 words: throw the ball up. No paragraph, no celebration, just 3 words. Compare that to everyone else. Maxey was louder. Perkins posted, "Well, I'll be damned." Kevin Hart told the city to stand up. Even LeBron's son Bryce chimed in. Brown's 3 words gave away almost nothing. The money side makes it even more striking. LeBron signed for just $3.88 million his first year in Philly, a 92.6% pay cut, with a $4.07 million player option for 2027-28. A 4-time champion taking a massive pay cut just to chase one more ring. When a player of that level takes that big a cut, the whole league expects the touches and big shots to follow him. Not because he demands it, just because that's what happens for a player like him, especially in year 1. So one trade meant to give Brown a fresh start ended up pulling in the exact player most likely to complicate it, and Brown helped make it happen. Now here's what's really got people talking. What does Brown's role even look like on a team already stacked with stars? The Ringer's roundtable didn't hold back. Writer Danny Chow said straight up that even though the Brown trade made total sense, it created real tension around who gets the ball. Another writer broke down the offense, noting last year there were 2 separate scoring lanes, the guards doing their own thing and Embiid running his own game beside them. This year, Brown's ability to score in isolation and in transition adds a 3rd lane, with Philly leaning on him late in the clock to attack the rim and draw fouls. Sounds great on paper, but basketball isn't played on paper. It's played with 1 ball and the shot clock. Embiid needs his post touches. Maxey averaged a team-high 28.3 points last year. Brown put up 22.4 a game. And LeBron, at 41, is still averaging 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, and 6.1 rebounds. 4 guys who all need the ball to be great. 1 basketball. Windhorst summed up the whole problem in 1 line. The Sixers now have to figure out Jaylen Brown's role and keep him comfortable more than anything else. That's not a compliment, that's a warning. When an insider says the front office has to worry about keeping one guy happy, that's code for this could blow up. And it's not just about Brown. ESPN's Ramona Shelburne reported two Sixers sources worry that adding James and Brown could hurt VJ Edgecombe's growth, since both veterans are used to major touches, leaving less for a young guard Philly sees as their future. So this isn't just Brown's problem, it's a roster-wide math problem. Adding two ball-dominant vets on top of an already loaded top four means someone's touches shrink a lot. LeBron is reportedly set to play real minutes at point guard. Sharania reported the Sixers expect LeBron to run point often this season. That sounds like it could help Brown. Less ball handling, more chances to play off LeBron. Sharania even said it can mean fewer on-ball duties for Maxey and Brown, hopefully boosting their efficiency. But less responsibility doesn't always mean more shots. It can just mean the offense stops running through you. For a guy who spent years in Boston fighting not to be a sidekick, that's exactly the kind of setup that could wear on him, even if it makes the offense smoother in October. There's also a brutal irony people noticed online.
CBS Sports' Shehan Jayaraja posted that Brown complained so much about being a second option that he became a fourth option instead, laughing emojis included. Harsh take, but it's exactly the tension driving every conversation about Brown right now. He spent years fighting to be more than a number two. Now he might be even lower than where he started. Even fans are unsettled. One fan wrote that the online chatter about Brown has felt really strange and said they're genuinely curious how this plays out. Another said Brown took a lot of hate this summer and will be out to prove people wrong. That's the mood right now. Fans don't know if they're watching Brown walk into his best shot at a ring or watching him get quietly pushed to the side by bigger names. Nothing's played out on the court yet. Camp hasn't even started, but this isn't just talk anymore. It's coming from insiders close to the locker room, a front office reportedly nervous about Brown's mindset, and a young player whose future is caught in the middle of two aging stars who both need the ball. So where does this leave Brown heading into the year? In public, he's saying all the right things. Charania reported Brown is committed to a team-first role to help Philly win it all, going in with no ego, and someone close to him said there's going to be a lot of sacrifice this season. That's a mature message. It's also exactly what a player says publicly when he knows privately this year will test him harder than Boston ever did. Because here's the truth nobody can spin away. The sacrifice being asked of Brown now is bigger than anything Boston ever asked. Even outlets covering this kindly admitted Brown may have to sacrifice more than ever, given how top-heavy this roster is. That's a big ask for a guy who spent a decade building himself as a number one option who could close out a series alone. And the stakes here are huge. Colin Cowherd, one of Brown's biggest defenders, once said every GM wants two things: a superstar and a guy who shows up, works hard, avoids drama, plays defense, and keeps improving. That reputation is Brown's biggest asset walking into the season. It's also exactly what's at risk if his touches keep shrinking and frustration starts leaking out in his body language, his answers, the small signals that Windhorst, Perkins, and Charania have all shown they know how to spot. This roster isn't changing anytime soon. LeBron signed a 2-year deal. This isn't a one-season experiment. Both sides have to make it work under a massive national spotlight. Embiid's health is still the biggest question mark. It could open up more chances for Brown if minutes shift, or make the crowding even worse if he's healthy and wants his usual share. One thing's clear. All the same conditions that pushed Brown out of Boston are back. A star boxed in, a front office managing egos, fans and media watching every little sign. The difference this time, the stakes are bigger. Philly didn't just add role players around Brown. They added a 4-time champion with a bigger resume on the same team chasing the same goal. Brown shared the court with a co-star before. He's adjusted his game and taken criticism before. What he hasn't done is do it with this many stars on one floor, this much pressure on how the ball gets shared, and a front office that already admits, before the season even starts, that it has a Jaylen Brown problem to manage. The season will answer a lot of this on its own. Chemistry builds or doesn't. Roles get clear or they don't. But Brown's place in all of this is still the biggest question mark nobody in Philly fully controls.